Macquarie Intermediate School's Facebook page. I'm Jasmine and I'm the head girl of Macquarie Intermediate School.
And I'm Sophia and I'm Deputy Head Girl of Macquarie. Today we are talking to two of our Board of Trustees members, Ms. Julie Wenham, who is the current chairperson of the board, and Mr. Daryl Christie, who is an experienced board member.
Good morning, girls. It's lovely to be here.
And good morning, girls. It is absolutely amazing to be here. Looking forward to this interview.
Action.
We are hosting this video because next month are the elections for the Board of Trustees, and we need people who are prepared to come and put their names forward for nomination.
And we are asking Ms. Wenham and Mr. Christie about their time on the board, what the job is like, and what their expectations are for other board members.
Action.
The first question is, how long have you been a board member and how did it start?
Action.
So once again, just like to thank the girls today for interviewing both Julie and I. The girls are absolutely right. This year is the triennial election, so elections happen every 3 years for Board of Trustees, and this year obviously the election is up. So just on that note, just want to encourage those of you interested in putting their nomination in to become a Board of Trustee member. Please do so. My understanding is that nominations close next Friday, Julie, is that correct? At 12 o'clock sharp. So we'll talk more about what that looks like to help with your decision making. But getting back to the question, how did I come to be in this space? So I'll try and keep it short, but I was appointed as a ministerial appointee to an establishment Board of Trustees back in my hometown, Murupara, centre of the universe, great place. And so that was back in 2010. To be honest with you, I had zero idea what was required. I didn't have a clue what was expected. What I did know is that I wanted to be a part of a forum that enabled transformational change and make a huge difference to our people. And it was that one thing that, first of all, gave me the courage to put my nomination in, and also to be a part of the work of boards going forward. So that was 2010. I've been on 2 other boards since. I'm still currently a board member at Rotokawa Primary, and of course a current member of Macquarie Intermediate as well. So that's my very, very quick background into board work. Julie?
I've been a board member for 6 years, so that's 2 terms, and board chair for the last 3 years. I have an older son who's 17, and when he came through Macquarie Intermediate, I decided that I'd like to be involved and contribute really just to what the school's like for my children. I work as well, so I can't always do things during the day volunteering to help, so I figured this was a way that I could help contribute to a better place for our kids. And then I've also had a daughter who's 14 now come through, so I stayed on the board for my second term. I will be leaving this time as they both move through to high school. But I found it very, very valuable, and as Daryl says, nominations close on the 24th of May at lunchtime, and it's just a way to contribute towards the school for our kids, and it's all about our kids really.
And if I could add, it'd be wrong for me not to give a shout out to my children. So I've had Kobe and Tia, who were year 8s last year. They're now gone to Rotorua Lakes High School, but currently I have my son Chase here as well. So jumping on the board was it was about them, but it's not just about them. It's important when you come onto a board that you look at the whole school, every child, and ensure you do your best to give our children obviously a first-class education and help them become essentially 21st citizens in society. So so that's just a little bit of an introduction as to why we've jumped on board, excuse the pun. But trust me, Julie's absolutely right. You'll love it. Don't worry about all the compliance stuff, because you are an entity of the Crown. It is highly regulated, but don't worry about that stuff. You'll learn that stuff as you go. All you need, as I say, is that passion and drive and determination to contribute in this space, and that is, as Julie said, is making sure that every child receives a first-class education.
3. Action.
What is the actual job of the board and what are members expected to do?
Action.
So our role as a board essentially is to set the strategic direction of the school, and basically we set the what, which is the outcomes, and we basically put together what's called a charter. So we're required by the ministry every year to submit our charter. What sits in the charter is a strategic plan, and from there what actually happens is that is then, if you like, sent to management led by Matua Raori, who along with the teachers set in place the how, and so they set strategies in place to achieve outcomes that have been obviously set through the charter by the board, to achieve, as I've mentioned, outcomes through the year, through the curriculum. And so we do that through a policy framework as well. And so that's our, if you like, our crown role. But there are other things we do as a board as well to help our students achieve going forward. Julie?
Yeah, well, that's been well said, Daryl. As Daryl said, our main role is governance, so that means that we're not usually involved in the day-to-day running of the school. That's delegated by any board to the management team headed by our principal. But we deal with things like the finance, so we set the budget as well for the school, and monitor the budget and any major purchases outside the budget. Big things like we recently did the school van, and we've done some other things over the years as well. We also deal with things like any building in the school, property. A lot of it can be the resourcing to enable our teachers and our management staff to do the best they can for the kids. So it's really mostly background work that we do for the school.
Absolutely. And just one more thing is our role is to create a safe environment for our kids. Okay, so our role in that context involves things like health and safety, obviously shoring up that safety element for our children, because in order for our children to learn and do well at school, obviously the environment needs to be safe, and that takes on many faces, but essentially that's another role that we do also. And it's a fantastic role, lots and lots of learning, as I've said previously, but look, you'll love it. You'll love it, absolutely.
Action.
What is your favourite part about being a board member?
Action.
I think my favourite part of being a board member would be when you see happy students and happy staff, and you get the vibe from the school, because you know that the things that you're doing in the background or that you're enabling to be done are working. And when you hear that kids are really enjoying school, some of the activities that were able to be done, camps that you're able to go on because we've been able to do the work in the background to also help do our little part to make it happen. That's what I really like. That really gets me in the heart, and I think, okay, so we'd like to put the kids first, and it's able to be done, and allow you guys to grow and have a good time at school through all the different things that you might enjoy, and also that the teachers are really enjoying coming to work, being together, doing what they do best because they're the education professionals.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah. Well, at the behest of sounding like a parrot, I've got nothing really to add to what Julie said already, except one small thing. For me, it's the interaction with, of course, you students, the teachers, and the parents. It's an honour and a privilege to be able to interact with everybody as a board member. It's important as a board member to be a face in our wider community, and so the ability to interact by virtue of that, I really enjoy as well. So when I say be a face, that means being visible, being active in the school, on EOTC trips, that kind of thing, and building and strengthening relationships. So yeah, I agree with Julie. That's the part I particularly enjoy. All the other compliance stuff kind of follows behind that. But you're right. The most important thing is that relationship and strengthening relationships over time. So yeah, it's fun.
Action.
What are the challenges of being on the Board of Trustees?
Action.
So for me, obviously, as I mentioned before, boards are essentially crown entities. So it's a highly regulated industry. So there's lots of compliance stuff, and as governments change and governments in office decide to do things differently, sometimes the goalposts move, and so it's the ability to try and sort of keep pace with what government are doing. So that can be a little bit challenging at times, because it's our role as a board to follow the Education Act and any amendments and so forth, to ensure that obviously we're compliant in what we're doing. So I guess, I'll go to Julie. I might think of something else, but what immediately comes to mind in terms of your question around challenges, that's one thing that I find a little bit difficult. Don't get me wrong, it's not untenable to keep pace with changes as they happen, but yeah, it's that adjustment part initially that can be quite challenging at times.
Yeah, Daryl, I'd agree. Coming from outside education and not really having anything to do with it apart from being a parent, sometimes just understanding the terminology that is used within education, because it's its own world in itself.
It is.
So understanding the terms or the they're called anagrams, the shortenings, how things work, because in the end it is a bit of a government bureaucracy behind the scenes at times. So just there's a period of adjustment.
Correct.
But there's people to help you. There's a group called New Zealand Schools Trustees Association, and they're set up to help boards of trustees, understanding that they are parents who've had sometimes no exposure to what goes on behind the scenes. And you don't have to have any special qualifications to come and be a board member. It's just having the best or wanting the best for all the kids in the school that you need. And the NZ Star, New Zealand School Trustees Association, what they do is they are there to guide you in governance. They do courses so that you can start to understand how things work, how they go together, where you should be looking, what you should be doing. And I think they take a lot of the difficulty out of things, because you can ring them and they're just on the end of a phone call to give you advice. And I've always found them to be really awesome.
Absolutely. Julie's right. And the other thing that I'd add too in terms of challenges is that, we're determined to give all of you students a first-class education, because you deserve all of that and more. And so we as a board, we get funded every year from the ministry. The challenge for us is trying to get more so we can do more for you guys. And so, EOTC, talked about jargon earlier, Julie, which is education outside the classroom. We think that's a great pedagogy for you kids to do your learning. And so, if we could do more things, say, with EOTC, which requires money more often than not, thereby not obviously calling on parents all the time who may not have the money to, support your students to go out and do this type of learning as one example. For us, a challenge and a frustration at times is, trying to convince the ministry or ultimately government to give us a bit more money to be able to do these real cool things for you kids. And so, yeah, I would say that's a challenge and a frustration, definitely. But in saying that, we're very, very fortunate in that most of us current board members, we're quite creative. I guess it's a case of having to be at times, and we do need to show some innovation with the amount of money that we do get from the ministry, again, to do as much as we possibly can for you children. So, so that's a real challenge and frustration for me as well, Julie. So, and I'm sure for Julie as well as Chair, she knows better than all of us how tough that can be, because we're just so determined to give you the best education you can possibly get.
When a new board is formed, is there any special training?
Action.
when a new board is formed, and throughout the whole 3-year period for boards, New Zealand School Trustees Association provides lists of courses that are done in our area, and they follow all sorts of things like bringing the board together, the roles of a board, right from the very basics of why we're there and how you do it, through to more complex things that you'll come across in your 3 years. And the courses are free, and they're usually 2 hours, mostly at night, and you just go online and enrol in them. They've got really good facilitators that are very knowledgeable, and if you need, they've got a really good website as well that has all sorts of questions and answers and things that you'll come up against that you can go through. And a lot of their courses are done online now, so you can be at home online and just do them through e-learning, which is really cool. They're not particularly hard. They just give you the information, which in a really concise manner. And then again, if there's something that they don't cover, or you haven't got to that course yet, you just pick up the phone and give them a call, and they're really, really good. And they help you with, because our big role is governance of the school, but we're also the school's employer as well. While we delegate that to our principal, the actual staff employment on a day-to-day basis, in the end, we do employ all the staff at the school. So they have another phone line for any employment questions that may come up that you can call at any time. So they provide really good backup.
They do. So Julie's covered the training element quite nicely there. So the only thing that I would add is that whether you're a new board member or even you've been on boards as long as I have, 9 years, there are really good courses to go along to. Certainly as an existing or a board member that's done this for a number of years, refreshers are a good thing, because as I mentioned in my previous answer, things do change, so you need to keep pace with that. And so doing these refreshers as an experienced board member is certainly encouraged. But one of I guess the key message from what Julie said is we would strongly encourage board members to make a commitment to these trainings. I believe they hold them monthly or bi-monthly, something like that, to get along to as many as you possibly can, because obviously you're building your institutional knowledge and knowledge base, which will of course translate to you being an effective governor, and ultimately, ensuring that our new kids, as I've said in my previous answer, get that first class education that you deserve. So I've got nothing more to add to that, but please make a commitment if you're jumping on the board to get along to these NZ STAR trainings. They certainly will help you in your role as a governor.
Action 3.
What skills do you think a board member needs?
3, 2, 1. Action.
So what skills do we believe board members need? To be honest with you, yes, some skill or a skill set is required or would be great, but like anything, it's like your kids with your learning. You can learn this stuff, and the previous answer sort of covered how you can get those skills to do your job. But I would say things like having a very basic level at least of financial literacy. Julie talked in her previous answer about us and how we set budgets, and we manage that through our principal. So having a basic knowledge as a minimum in the financial literacy space is definitely useful. You don't have to be an accountant, you don't have to be Einstein, you don't have to be a bank manager or anything like that. But as I've said earlier, having a little bit of knowledge certainly helps. But can I be honest, and I'm going back to previous answers, is that if you've got a passion to really want to make a difference in the lives of you kids, and you want to see transformational change, then really that is, for me anyway, the master key. The other skill stuff can be added later through PD, and we've covered that already. But that would be my answer, Julie. I mean, there are other skill sets that would be useful. I've mentioned one, financial literacy, but yeah, that master key of being passionate.
Yeah, thanks, Daryl. I agree. You don't need to be a top professional to be a member of a board. You've just got to have your heart in the right place to want to do the best for
Yeah.
our school
Yeah.
and for the community, because the school serves the community.
That's right.
I think it's more about what I'd call soft skills, and they are just having the ability to listen to other people because you're working as a team in a group environment. Try to see things from other people's point of view, and just be willing to learn.
Yeah.
That's really all it is, and just wanting the best for the kids, and work well with others. That's really all you've got to do, and you can pick everything else up. Have a little bit of time, I think, because I think time's important. Although we don't take enormous amounts of time, it would be a couple of meetings a term, and there may be something else that comes up to do with finance or some other support that is needed from the principal, because the principal sits on the board and he also works as a partnership with the board, so he wears two hats. So sometimes he needs a bit.
Thank you for your time today.
And thank you for your service.
Please think about standing for Board of Trustees for Macoya Intermediate School.
And please help us to reach our full potential by being part of the Board of Trustees.
We need a great board to continue being a great school.
Thank you for watching.